Good morning, Krishna.
Good morning, Om.
Welcome for this interview on entrepreneurial session.
I hope we will have a mutually beneficial session on sharing what are your thoughts about the entrepreneurship and how will entrepreneurship get benefit of the program. What do you think are the elements of entrepreneurship?
Today, I think basically any entrepreneur believes that they should know everything. For example, when I say everything, they need to know about marketing, they need to know about finance, they have to be extremely hardworking, and they have to also know if they are into any technical production, also technology. And basically, many entrepreneurs believe marketing drives business. So that's what is looking as a composition of the current entrepreneurship.
What are your thoughts about specialists taking over entrepreneurship?
Most of the time, when people have specialized in certain area, let's say a doctor in cardiology or an accountant, a chartered accountant in accounting, internal auditing, or a human resource manager training or consulting, they basically believe that specialized knowledge is good enough for them to get into business. Need not be, because business, as we know, needs many other different things apart from a specialist knowledge. So when they get into business, depending fully on the specialized skill to drive the success, some of them do not reap the success as much as they desire to do.
Okay, understanding from your earlier statement, how is that the affordability for the first-time entrepreneurs?
Good question. I think for the starting entrepreneurs, a good approach would be to have number of advisors who have been there doing great jobs in specialized field. And today outsourcing is rampant, depending on what you want to have as in-house and what you want to outsource. You better outsource, otherwise you're not going to succeed. Meaning to say that if you're a specialist, you may outsource your marketing in terms of lead generation to an external person. You may have to finally go there yourself to close the sale. But lead generation is cannot something that you may probably want to spend time on. So that's a good route, and today many of them are doing it, especially with the growing economy with less brick and mortar office, people operating out of coffee shops. So that's a good way to possibly do the business.
Okay. What are the skills that is required for a today entrepreneur?
You need to have combinations of skill, but then you are always good at something which is very particular to you.
Okay.
Right? And that's to an extent we discussed a few minutes back about specialists, right?
Yes.
Need not also be. There could be someone who is so strong in growing a business without any specialist knowledge that he may tend to drive the business hard for growth. And when he does that, specialists working for him may find it difficult to tolerate him because of the communication differences that they may have, and also the fact that a person who is probably growing a business is more looking at what can he achieve rather than what the knowledge can do for him. So that's what is all about. So there is a different variety to different people.
How do you identify the varieties?
Today the new entrepreneurship talks about people having a specific DNA. They call it the entrepreneurship DNA. This is something that has been discovered by a guy called Joe Abraham in US. And what the entrepreneurship DNA is all about is classifying each entrepreneur's DNA. What is their primary DNA that will drive business? That's the previous question that we had. So essentially, the primary DNA drives what you want to do, followed by the secondary and the tertiary DNA.
Is there a scientific way to identify the DNA?
It's more a tool which has a questionnaire for you to answer. So, is it a validated tool? Yes, it's a validated tool. Has it been found effective? Yes, it's been found effective. And there have been many entrepreneurs who have found useful. And today, many of the funding organizations look at the entrepreneurial DNA before they can do venture capital funding. Right? So, they do that. So, it's becoming slowly worldwide an important ingredient for people to look for venture capital, to look for bank loans, etc. This is very important, because that's what will tell someone whether you are in the right mix of people who can drive your business to growth.
Can you please elaborate more on the scientific tool that you described?
It basically classifies the DNA of an entrepreneur into 4 quadrants B being the builder, O being the opportunist, S being the specialist, I being the innovator. And when you run this tool, it's basically called DNA. Each one of us will have a combination of DNA. It's not that one DNA will be absent in one of us. All of us will have all the DNAs at varying percentages. So the percentage where you have more is what drives your primary DNA. For example, if you are an innovator, then you will have more innovator DNA in you. And if an innovator gets into a business, he is going to be more motivated by the technical skills, knowledge, new knowledge, innovation, etc. and may not be too driven to sell his product and make money. It's at this stage that the builder comes over and grows his business to the next level, and an opportunist steps in to see what opportunities he can create that the builder has created to sell into the market. So that's how this 4 DNA works together.
What are the strengths of the DNA you just quoted?
A strength for a builder would be more in terms of starting a business and growing it to size. An opportunist would be able to take a business built by a builder and look around opportunities available to grow it back in, grow the business that builder has started. A specialist would come in and bring in a specialized knowledge. Example would be an accountant, a HR professional, a tax consultant. They would bring in and add value to them. An innovator could get into more research and development. It could be brand innovation, it could be product innovation, it could be service innovation. So they come with different thoughts that they bring in. So each one of them bring in different types of strength to the table. So it is the combination of these 4 elements that actually drive us to grow a business.
Where we can avail this particular tool, which you just said, BOSI.
There is a free online assessment that they can go and look at BOSI.com, and then they can take that assessment. And if they want to go to a deeper assessment, then they reach out to this organization and see what they can do. And there are coaches around the world who are specialized in this, who will help them to grow their skills much better.
Can you relate, can you quote some of the examples on the Indian scenarios?
If a doctor is a specialist and he wants to grow, he has to also have builder who can work along with him, who can actually help him to grow the business. He may obviously use the specialist as a brand to market the hospital. But specialist would continue to look at what he can add value to the service that the hospital can offer. Whereas builder is going to make it to grow into size, look at administration, look at people, look at finance, look at other things that he can grow. So when he does that and you bring an opportunist who can go around scouting around what type of services are being offered, can he expand it? How do you really get to reach various opportunities available in the market and how you can capitalize on it? And specialist is going to be able to support a builder and the opportunist, and they work as a team. And then if you bring in an innovator there who continues to work on both service innovation and product innovation, then it makes the hospital even go further. But an innovator can bring service and marketing innovation, but it is a builder and opportunist who are actually going to take it to completeness by building on the strength of the innovators and specialists. That's the smallest example that I could think of.
Is this tool valid across cultures?
It works across the culture, because when you're talking about a builder, an opportunist, a specialist, or an innovator, there's nothing to do with the culture. It is your way of thinking. It's your interest, it's your motivation, it's your passion, what you're driving. So across cultures, that doesn't change. It is probably difficult to classify as a country or as a region that people belonging to a certain country will be dominated by this type of a DNA. It's probably the availability of opportunities and the ability to take risk that probably differentiates more than the DNA availability being, right? So if you look at India, for example, you have a national entrepreneurship network, you have Thai organizations which are there, which promote entrepreneurship. So when they also understand, and in India traditionally, if you look at many of the big companies are family-driven companies. So and then there's probably a strong belief that entrepreneurship means it has to be in your blood, and then you need to know all the skills, and you need to have money to drive, etc. Now those beliefs are being challenged now. So if you bring in someone with all these 4 varieties of DNAs that they are able to bring together, then probably things can be different.
What are your thoughts on upcoming next generation entrepreneurs?
My thoughts around the next generation entrepreneur is primarily the world is moving towards more brick and mortarless office, more online offices. So whether we'll have huge offices even being built unless it's manufacturing, then many of the entrepreneurs who are marketing or who are providing services may literally be online, on cloud, with literally no existence. They may work out of coffee shops, they may work out of tea shops, etc., and they may just have one laptop and one internet connection, and they may just do their business and go away. I think that's what the world is moving towards. Can you avoid it? I think probably very difficult. It's good, yeah, it is, unless it is manufacturing and or a special place where you have to deliver some service. That's where they're going to. So more youngsters coming in with more entrepreneurial organization nurturing their skills. I'm thinking that more people will drive business spirit in them, and that's what many of the universities they are also working on. And if you go to many universities, you will see entrepreneurial network already in existence, nurturing the spirit of entrepreneurial thinking.
Thanks for your time, Mr. Krishna. It was an insightful session on entrepreneurship. I hope the next gen entrepreneurs would get benefit out of this session.
Pleasure is mine.